Do you ever find yourself sitting up in bed in a position similar to this, relaxing, doing something like using your phone or reading a book? Well, if this is you, then you may be inadvertently setting your neck and back up for dysfunction down the track. And sitting up in bed is especially relevant for anyone who deals with any form of headaches, neck pain, or lower back pain, and are certainly struggling to understand why it's there and why it might be persisting despite your best efforts. Because depending on the position that you are in and where you are sinking through and hinging through, you might be doing yourself a complete disservice. But the good news is we can do something about this. So let's talk about how to optimize this and improve your spine's chances of feeling great long term. Hello and welcome back to the channel. As a physiotherapist who treats a lot of neck and back related dysfunction, we're always trying to take a step back and understand what are the basic day-to-day things that people do that set them up for failure over time. And irrespective of what spinal dysfunction you may be dealing with or currently trying to resolve, because we all live in the same modern world, there's often one thing that links most people's spinal dysfunction together. One of the through lines that connects so many people is just the basics of how you position that tissue day in, day out over weeks, months, years, and decades. And essentially what we're talking about is posture. But stationary, sedentary posture, most commonly in the form of sitting, whether that be driving, sitting on the couch watching TV, sitting at a desk doing computer work, or if you don't sit, someone who stands and bends forward or looks down a lot throughout the day, depending on where the distinct hinges go in your spine, often starts to load up specific parts of that spine differently over time. And as I speak about on the channel a lot, the moment that you hurt yourself or the moment that you develop your pain is rarely the start of something brand new, save for any acute accidents or trauma. The majority of people's pain, the onset of that pain, should be considered the last straw. What you were doing at the time may ultimately be incidental and just the thing that you were doing that finally tipped your tissue above the threshold of coping and into tissue damage or that pain cycle. And one of the things that I've learned over the last 20 years trying to do a deep dive with my patients to figure out the root cause of these things, one sneaky thing that often slips under the guard for a lot of people is what they do when they're sitting up in bed at night. And for me, I'll never forget a conversation I had with a patient who had come in to see me complaining of thumb pain for about 7 or so years. He naturally bounced around a lot of different health professionals, been given a lot of thumb-specific exercises, tried a lot of different things, and he was left a little bit dejected because it hadn't really solved or resolved his thumb pain. And as someone who likes to take a step back and consider more things, we actually had a look at his neck. And as it turned out, his thumb pain was a consequence of hidden neck dysfunction at the levels of the neck that supply and control the function of his thumb. And once we freed it up, improved the function of his neck, his thumb pain ultimately resolved. But what was really important about this conversation is we obviously needed to understand why a specific part of his neck had become dysfunctional when the tissues above that spot and below that spot were relatively fine. And we started to realize that the position that he was in with his neck posture, despite his day being finished, he'd done all the things he needed to do, he'd been good during the day, but he was consistently creating a hinge through his neck, through the exact level that had become dysfunctional, and started expressing that dysfunction in the form of pain and tenderness and soreness and tightness through his thumb because that's where it was connected to. So all the thumb treatments or the neck treatments in the world may ultimately be helpful from a symptomatic perspective. It's very likely that until he gets himself out of this position into a better, more neutral spinal position, a more even spinal position where he hasn't kicked a hinge into his neck for 3 hours every night, until those things are better expressed, then that thumb pain will always have the potential to come back or hang around or persist over time. So what this speaks to is that if you are someone that wants to maintain a healthy functioning spine, or you are someone who does get headaches that you can't explain, or you get neck pain, or you have any form of upper limb ache or pain that you can't get rid of that may ultimately be neck related, or you have back pain or any lower leg dysfunction that isn't resolving that may ultimately be an expression of lower back dysfunction, what sitting up in bed does is it gives us an opportunity to create all of these unnecessary hinges through specific parts of our spine and keep the load on there for a period of time that then builds up as the days, weeks, months, and years go on. So if you can't explain some of your dysfunction despite all the good things that you're doing for it, and you are someone that identifies as being a person who does spend some time sitting up in bed even though it's relaxing and it's comfortable for you, you may be doing your body a great disservice without ever realizing it. So what we want to do is we want to try and find alternate versions of this that don't rob you of that capacity to feel relaxed and comfortable, but maybe greater respects the health and function of your tissue. And ultimately what that means is we just want to take the hinges out of your spine and put them back into the joints that hinge respectfully, meaning your hips, elbows, knees, shoulders, and things like that. So for example, if you're someone who does like to sit up in bed and relax in a long sitting position, do you have the requisite flexibility to cross your legs? Can you get a towel to fill the gap there so you still feel supported and comfortable, but you're not sacrificing your spinal health to achieve that comfort? So if coming up into a better position, maybe crossing your legs, doesn't work for you, and remember, crossing your legs takes a lot more pressure off your back than having your legs out straight. As soon as your legs come out straight, you increase the amount of neural tension in the tissue, meaning that if your back is tight and the nerves are tight down the back of your legs, it's much harder for you to stay up straight, and the more you'll be forced to round your back to take the slack off to be in this position. So obviously, sitting up cross-legged is really there for those who have the capacity to do this. But if this isn't you and you want to relax it within the comfort of your own bed, then we do need to change something. So as we talk about a lot on the channel, we want to try and optimize the position that your spine is in to get it close to that anatomical position, because that's just how your tissue is loaded best and the function of that anatomy is best expressed. So we all know how to stand up nice and tall, but instead of sitting in a compromised position, in that long sitting position, it's much easier for you to try and keep everything neutral and do things on your side. If you're someone who loves to sit up in bed and read, then lie down on your side and have your book out in front of you in a position like this. It takes all the tension out of your spine, you're well supported, it is far more sustainable. And you're not compromising the position of your spine in that death by 1,000 cuts way over time. So ultimately, lying down on your side can solve a lot of problems, but only if the thing that you are doing can conform to this position. So if you are someone who does sit up in bed and you do so because it allows you to engage in something that you enjoy, try and create a more neutral spinal position, whether it's up nice and tall with some pillows behind you, or lying down on your side, doing something in that position. But if you find that what you enjoy doing doesn't conform to those two shapes easily, or it's difficult for you to do, then we may need to have a very adult, mature conversation about taking that activity out of the bedroom. Can you do it before you get into bed in a way that allows you to maintain a more neutral spinal position throughout? But the main point I wanted to get across in this video is that if you do suffer from any spinal dysfunction, the shapes and the positions that you put that tissue into consistently throughout the day, whether you are acutely aware of it or not, matters. And sitting up in bed is just another one of those relatively non-threatening things that slips under the guard, but something that we can spend a lot of our time doing that ultimately sets our tissue up to fail over time. So as always, I genuinely hope that that was helpful and insightful. If it was, let me know, what do you do while sitting up in bed that you may never have realized could have been the catalyst for some of that dysfunction? Please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you want more content like this from me. Please consider becoming a member if you want more in-depth information on the topics that I put out. But once again, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye.